Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to one of those videos that needs to be made. Well, it really sucks to have to talk about it. Why does it suck? Because occasionally Kabam likes to do this thing where they casually try to sneak past the community with something that is a really important issue that affects multiple people, but they kind of try to downplay it. One of the best examples of this is when they put at the very bottom of patch notes a few months back that like defensive boosts and special boosts were now going to work. And it led the question, how long have these things not worked and how many units have we just thrown away in this idea that boosts were actually working, but really they were all placebos? Well, I bring you to the latest patch note point, because if you scroll down, you can see Doom's Fist 79 says, "Hi there, I saw this announcement, but I'm not sure which Thanos this is referencing. Is it the very last one that is the only boss for the quest, which many people have been complaining about, or is it one of the ones in an earlier quest?" And really the only earlier quest that I can think of is the one right before it, right? The one with Ebony Maw as the boss. So it says, "Incoming fix, nameless Thanos boss in Avengers Forever. Hey summoners, we will be pushing a fix soon that will include the following. Fixed an issue," really it's plural in this, "where nameless Thanos' protection from his second phase could be active in his third phase," which of course makes him way harder. Fixed an issue where extending the armor break in his third phase would not extend the downtime of his indestructible buff, which was also the main complaint I saw from many YouTubers who just talked about the indestructible buff's BS nature and how they got wrecked because when he was indestructible, of course, you couldn't cause any damage, and then you just got, well, wrecked. So we plan on pushing these fixes within the next hour. You'll need to restart your game for these to take effect. Okay, so the discussion has been closed. What they're basically hinting at in this forum post, which I will pin as a comment below this video, is that a couple of the major reasons why people had to lose so many units, and if not units at least, stored potions and revives, were bugs, but bugs that were anti-player, bugs that made Thanos a lot more OP than he should have been, and everybody, including myself, who faces him for the first time because I have not fought him yet, will get a much easier, or seemingly much easier, experience at taking him down than the people who fought him in the first few days. This is clearly a case where the people who fought him before these patch fixes went into consideration were at a tremendous disadvantage. And normally, you would think when that happens, there would be some public, not buried in a forum post, acknowledgement of this with a suggestion for some kind of compensation for people who have at least beaten him once. And if you have amazing skills and you don't have to use any notes, then hey, good for you. You just get free items, right? But no matter what, everybody that beat this and took down this Thanos boss before the fix, I think it's pretty obvious deserves some form of compensation, particularly potions and revives. As you can imagine, before this discussion has been closed, there were some people who had some problems with this. So he was harder than necessary. Rest in peace, my items. Well, that's exactly true. I mean, exactly right. And then Kabam said, "Hey there, this is for the one in the last quest of the final chapter," and then the discussion was closed. So I haven't received anything in my inbox since this was sent to me. And obviously, if you beat the final Thanos and you had to use multiple items, including revives and potions, or you had to actually spend units because you didn't have any revives or potions, you are understandably upset. Because, as this says, the indestructible buff was not working properly, and so the downtime was not being activated. And then the protection from his second phase could be active in his third phase, meaning that there was a third phase that was much, much harder than it should have been, and hopefully now it's much easier than it was. But this is the case where if you have a successful company that understands it screwed up and it's doing something that affected a major portion of its most experienced player base, because if you're uncollected at least, chances are you've been playing the game longer than people who haven't, right? Because it takes a while to become uncollected. You don't want to find reasons to anger these players, and you also have done that many times, especially in the past 6 months to a year. So I am hoping that they can form some kind of compensation package for the people who fought a much harder version of the last Thanos than is currently there. And keep in mind, this does not affect me. I would not receive this compensation package. I have not attempted this fight yet. So I'm not saying this in any way to benefit myself. I'm doing this to benefit the people in the community who had to fight a BS fight that was a lot worse. It's amazing how they're just now fixing this, and yet they have no problem asking people to pay 3,000 units for a worthless, stupid profile pic, or for the fact that the special 3 bug that causes players to occasionally still dash right into the enemy and get wrecked after a special 3 still is not fixed yet. Kabam has a pattern, as we have learned many times in this community, of making it to where they sweep problems under the rug that hurt the player base. And even in this case, they at least fixed it pretty fast, but they still haven't acknowledged, at least at the time of recording this, that the people who fought the much harder boss deserve some kind of compensation. But at the same time, if there's something that helps them, they can be very slow to fix it because it makes them more money. So what do you think about this? Are you like the user at the bottom here who took away from this that he was much harder than necessary, and so your items just rest in peace because those items were not going to be needed to be used if the Thanos had probably been properly tested? Which also brings up the final point of this video, which is Kabam. I don't know how many people you pay. I don't know if you just run off donut currency up in Canada to test your game. It's one thing to miss some kind of animation for a character. I'm sure there are over 100 characters, well over that now. You won't have time to maybe catch everything, but when you're putting out a boss, especially a final boss, that shouldn't be too hard of a thing to test. So if you have to double your budget of hourly employees that test bugs before you release the patch, so be it. But this kind of thing cannot continue to happen. It just makes you look lazy and only angers the players that have stayed most loyal to you for years. So comment below, let me know what you think of this. The forum post will be pinned in a comment. And as always, thank you for watching and supporting my Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube channel.